Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 1 o'clock and ask the city clerk to read the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act into the record.
This meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act with notice provided to the Trenton Times, the Hunterdon County Democrat on December 22nd, and to members on the listserv on December 27th. The meeting agenda was posted to the city's website on Tuesday, December 27th. The meeting agenda offers the planned action items of the governing body to the extent known at the time of publication. This meeting is being streamed live and recorded using the Zoom meeting platform. Roll call.
Yes, please.
Councilwoman Lambert,
Here.
Councilman Stegman,
Here.
Councilwoman Taylor,
Here.
Mayor Noack,
Here.
Councilwoman-elect Kaminsky, here, Councilman-elect Blythe,
Here. And we can note that Councilman Sanders is out today. Traveling. Right, in a moment we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. Today's moment of silence, I'd like everyone to really think about and honor everybody who's stepping into new roles, elected leaders here in the city, specifically Evan and Karen, and throughout the country. I think it's a great thing to reflect on getting into service, at whatever your age and whatever your community and whatever your goals. I think it's an important thing to do, and I would ask for a moment of silence to honor that. And then I'll ask everyone to remain standing for a moment for the invocation. Reverend Don, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. Thank you. Please remain standing for the invocation. Everyone, yes, if you could, please.
Today we come with joy and in hope as Andrew and our city council begin a new year. We're so thankful for your willingness to serve this beloved community where we live, work, and play. As we look back on the myriad of ways that Andrew has creatively and lovingly cared for our home, we say thank you. You have given so much of yourself and given countless hours to make Lambertville a safe and open and beautiful place for us all to live. But we know that Andrew did not do all of this work alone, and so we're thankful for all of our elected officials who have been part of this ongoing and challenging work as well. We hope that you have all felt our support in this last year, and we pledge our support as we move forward. We also ask for God's help as Andrew and all of our officials diligently work to care for each and every one of us, as well as our town. While we come from different places, backgrounds, ethnicities, and by many paths, tonight we recognize our common goal to diligently strive for the well-being of all those who call Lambertville home. We pray for integrity, humility, and courage as you all continue on this journey. May you sense God's presence and guidance in all you do and say and are. And may we all act with love and compassion in a world that can feel anything but compassionate. May we all be the voice of love and peace. Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. Now I'll ask the city clerk to read the certification of election into the record, please.
a statement of the determination of the Board of Canvassers of Hunterdon County, New Jersey, relative to an election held in the county of Hunterdon on November 2, 2022, for the election of the following mentioned offices in the city of Lambertville. 1 or 2 offices, 3-year terms for council. That said board does determine that Karen J. Kaminsky and Evan Lai were duly elected to serve as council members of the city of Lambertville for a term expiring on 12/31/2025. Congratulations.
Let's clap. All right, and now Karen will be sworn in by Assemblyman Varelli.
A personal privilege, please. I've known Councilwoman-elect Kaminsky for many years, both personally and professionally. And I always get excited when I have an opportunity to swear people in, but it's really special. I'm really excited here today. Happy New Year, everyone. I wish you all health and prosperity in the coming year. So with that being said, okay, and repeat after me.
All right.
I, Karen J. Kaminsky,
I, Karen J. Kaminsky,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and the governments established in the United States
and the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform all duties of the office
perform all duties of the office
of City Council
of City Council
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. And now we'll have to be sworn in by the city clerk.
Just want to say it's my pleasure to an honor to swear you in. Yes. And he's got to hold the Bible. Okay, that's going to put his right hand, put his left hand on it and raise his right hand and swear, repeat after me. I, Evan Lai,
I, Evan Ladd,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and the governments established in the United States
and the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all of the duties of the office of City Council
perform all of the duties of the office of City Council
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Next order of business is the election of a council president. Is there a nomination for the council president?
Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to nominate my colleague, Councilman Stegman, for the office of council president, for the role of council president.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Councilwoman Kaminsky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lambert,
Yes.
Councilman Lai,
Yes.
Councilman Stegman.
Yeah.
Mayor Novak.
Yes.
Okay, so the oath.
Yes.
Cindy has sworn me into many roles that I have in the city. So thank you
It's
so
my
much.
pleasure to do this again. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Stephen Stegman,
I, Stephen Stegman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New
and
Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the
to
same,
the same,
and the governments established in the United States
and the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
and that I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
justly
perform all of the duties
perform all of the duties
of the office of council president
of the office of council president
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my
So help me
ability. So help me God.
Congratulations.
President?
Mayor?
Yes, yeah, I was just about to excuse her. At this time, I think it's appropriate that the former council president, Julia, oh my gosh, I'm having such an Taylor. I'm a little nervous today, I don't know why. It happens once in a while to a mayor. Julia Taylor can step away from the dais with our gratitude, and we're not done with her, so there'll be more conversation about her in a little bit. Thank you very much for your time. Next on the agenda is the appointment to our boards and commissions. There are over 100 people that serve on our boards and commissions. They're all volunteers. They all bring an amazing level. What's that?
Commentary?
Oh, commentary. Gosh, yeah, I am nervous today. I don't know why. Anyway, we'll start with commentary and then we'll go into boards and commissions. Thank you, Cindy, for catching that. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone here today. Assemblyman Torelli, Donna, all the mayors out there. I see Mayor Kovach, I see Mayor Del Vecchio. Are there any other mayors out there that I can't see? Oh, that's right, Commissioner Rich, nice to see you. And esteemed guests, ladies, gentlemen, welcome. So it's 2023 and we're off to a great start. We've got a very promising year ahead of us with 2 new council people. I'm very excited to have them joining us. As I reflect a little bit on my first year, I look back at the minutes from the reorganization meeting last year, and I think there were a couple of things that I just wanted to highlight about what was said last year and bring that into this year as kind of a reminder of why we're here. Starting with Council President Taylor, she said during her remarks last year at the reorganization meeting, that she's here because of service, not because of politics. And I think that is, I'll talk about each of these things kind of individually in a moment, but that really struck a chord with me personally. Councilman Sanders said that he looked forward to working with our new mayor and he promised to give him his best counsel. He said, "I'll let him know when he's right and I'll let him know when I disagree," which is, I think, a very wonderful way to say something rather than I'll let him know when he's wrong, right? So from Councilman Sanders, I came away with a real sense of language and moderation and thoughtfulness. Councilwoman Lambert said she may not always agree with me, but she will do it with civility. The compromise that works as a result is often better, and that is at the heart of our government, that form of collaboration that you feel so much partnered with the people you are serving with. Thank you for that. I think that has guided my leadership style this year, a real sense of the importance of collaboration and compromise, and that will continue. And Councilman Stegman welcomed me and said he was particularly glad that I noted on the commitment of many of the people who serve in the city and reiterated that the 5 of us can't do it alone. And that really points to the gratitude I hope we all feel as we take on these roles and we go through the day-to-day work of governing the city. So really, for me, it's last year was about civility, which is really closely related to kindness, compromise, gratitude, and I tie all those things together and I come up with the importance of generosity and communication. Those are the things that I hope will guide us this year. I hope that everybody will feel very generous in their heart about their time, about their expertise, about slowing down and listening and doing all the things that I think have done we did so well in 2022. So those are some of the things that I'm thinking about for this coming year. I do need to thank my husband, Paul, who's out on Cape Cod today, walking beaches and having fun with friends that I'm not doing because I'm here with all of you fine people. And also my children, Emerson, Henry, and Riley. They've all been very supportive of this effort, which, as most of you know, takes a lot of time away from them and from other things in life. So I'm particularly grateful for their support. The last thing I would say is, coming into this role last year, I was nervous. I'm still a little nervous sometimes, but I set my compass to earn people's trust and to feel as though I could make a difference in our community. And I hope I've been able to do that. Part of building a trust is, there were a lot of different components of that. Last year, for example, I opted not to take my stipend. I wanted to make sure that everybody felt as though I was, at least worth no pay. This year is a little different. This year I've decided that I will take my stipend, but tomorrow I'm going to sit at City Hall and write out checks using the totality of that money to organizations here in Lambertville, or nonprofits, all the community groups that service our town. So that's a commitment that I will continue to make in the years ahead, just a small one. It just reinforces my love and my gratitude for this community and for the ability to work with all of these fine people. And with that, I'll yield the floor to the council president.
That's nicely put, nicely said. I didn't know I said something so profound last year. I don't think I can top it.
You often do. You just have to look through all of the other words.
That's right. I'm honored to be sitting here with these 4 people, 5, 6, 7 people who have gained the trust of the public. I think the public is very paramount in my mind of we can't do this alone. We have people that are here today that have expertise in many other fields. And you can just tell by the number of volunteers how committed 100 or so people are to helping the city be the city they love. And I look forward to working with the new council, Karen, and of course the mayor and Ben, and keeping in mind that I'm here because we were voted by the people to do a job, and I trust that people will stay involved and informed so we can continue to meet the challenges that are coming up this year, but we do it with compassion and input from the people that put us here to begin with. So thank you so much.
I am also honored. I feel grateful really every day that the people of Lambertville have entrusted me with this job. And having never served in government before, I'm kind of surprised how much I enjoy it. I enjoy serving the people, doing the people's work, speaking to them, working with this council, or former council president and councilman, as well as the 2 incoming council members. I have always worked to listen to the community, and as I've said to the mayor, when you have difference of opinion, you find yourself in a place that you might not have been if you didn't take the time to listen. I will always listen to people. Even if I don't agree with them, I will stop and think it through. And I have done that, and I continue to try to do that. I'm, again, grateful to be here, happy to serve, and I can't believe how fast the first 2 years have gone by. And thank you to the city of Lambertville for allowing me to do this job.
Sure. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming and all of our distinguished guests for coming as well. And I want to thank my two boys, Alex and Matt, for being the most awesome sons ever and for getting up before noon to be here. And I have to thank Assemblymember Morelli and Donna and Melissa for swearing me in and coming. They're great friends of mine, and I want to tell you about Anthony. He represents us. And, you know, to Anthony, helping people is just second nature. So he's a great guy and he's a great leader for our legislative district. So I want to thank him again for coming today. And thank everyone in Lambertville for putting their confidence in me. And I assure you, I won't let you down. You know, I've been here a while and I learned a lot in Lambertville about life and love and respect and lessons that like how to make the best meatball ever from Helen and Allison and everyone at the YMAC. And, you know, I learned that, you know, when you don't have to worry on a Ramblers game day because there's 5 other moms there with their eyes on your kid while you're working the snack shack at the game. And some of my Rambler moms went to make the ziti for later, so hats off to them. But I learned too that when you call it for emergency services, that people come to your door with great compassion and help. And I also learned that when there's a flood, everybody's first instincts are to put on their boots, show up at everyone's doors who's affected, and help. And when somebody's sick or troubled, or, you know, you're in the hospital and your baby's an infant, you know, the birds come, you have friends come, and they come by and wish you well and help you out. And those are kind of some of the examples of Lambertville life that I've been privileged to live. And they're like the spirit of this, like, great, really my second hometown. And so like in the memory of all those who passed and everyone here right now and our families and our children, I think we all owe it to each other to continue to cherish all the things that make this place special and grow that into the future together as one Lambertville. And I really look forward to doing that on the council, and that's the spirit that will guide me. And just quickly, when it comes to being on the governing body, I just really wanted to reiterate a couple of things that we talked about during the campaign. And first was my commitment to environmental protection and strengthening our flood and stormwater regulations. I don't think we can leave it to those who wish to come to build here to set those standards. We have to set the bar higher and protect our own community. And I look forward to doing that this year. And I'm committed to openness and transparency in government. I believe in a very public discussion and public participation, not government, you know, tucked away somewhere, and collaboration with folks at meetings and long discussions at public participation time. And finally, I'm really committed to holding the line on taxes, because I think this past year has shown us we're in some more challenging fiscal times than we've ever been. And being like a careful steward of the public's, of your money, is really an important trust for me. So those are some of the things that I look forward to working on everyone with. And I want to thank everyone for coming and wish everybody a happy and healthy new year.
Let's go on, please. Thank you. So I want to echo everything that Karen said. You know, first, thanks for placing your trust in us. That really does mean a lot. We have a lot of difficult decisions and a lot of work to do. And, you know, we're going to get to work starting today. So obviously I have to thank my wife, Melissa, who was not thrilled with me deciding to run for count one more thing, but I really do appreciate it. And I also want to thank my parents too, who are here, who are also Lambertville residents too. So although they don't live here, so they didn't put me in the spot. No, but you know, we really do have a lot of hard work ahead of us. We have many issues with affordable housing that Lambertville needs to tackle and needs to come up with a solution. And we need to build consensus to do that. As Karen also indicated too, you know, affordability is a big reason why we decided we wanted to run affordability in Lambertville. And we want to make sure that we can continue that the people that work here in Lambertville are able to live here in Lambertville. So thank you. And thank you to the mayor for really working with us over the past couple weeks to get us ready. I know you're working hard and we appreciate those efforts. So thank you. And I look forward to working with Ben and Steve as well.
Now on to appointments to boards and commissions. So I'd first like to thank Councilwoman Lambert for all of her work with this. As I noted before, I was interrupted to reposition me to the right spot. We have over 100 people who volunteer on these boards and commissions. It's a lot of work. A lot of people do bring a lot of diverse talents to these positions. And it's really the only way we can not just keep Lambertville how we love it, but move it forward into new ways of loving it, whether it's environmental protection or zoning or planning. These boards are integral to who we are and where we want to go. So it's very, very important. I'm very mindful. I will be going to all of the reorganization meetings this month, as I did last year. I think it's important for me to be participating in the lives of these boards and commissions and giving them and offering them my support in terms of setting goals or just recognizing their hard work. The process by which we make these appointments or nominations is, the last 2 years at any rate, Councilwoman Lambert has been very instrumental in reaching out, communicating outwards, getting people to write. We look at the positions that are available, and then we ask for resumes or a statement of intent, what you bring to the table. That's all distributed among the council. The lists are put together, and then they appear magically on January 1st for appointments. So by now everybody has had conversations. I think everybody's probably had time to look at all of these potential appointments. And anybody on the council has any questions or comments about these appointments? Great. Hearing none, I would ask someone to make a motion to confirm the nominations to the boards and commissions.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we're going to do roll calls today, Cindy, I think, and then we'll go to voice votes next meeting.
Councilwoman Kaminsky.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Lyde.
Yes.
Council President Stegman.
Yes.
Mayor No.
Yes. Right. Proclamations. This is the most fun part of the meeting, I think. It's really a way to recognize all the people who've done so much work in our communities and participated in a number of different ways. My minister often quotes something from Deuteronomy that we drink from wells that we did not dig, and that's something that always sticks with me. I'm not particularly a religious person, but the idea that we show up and things are done for us already by others, historically or by just recently, really strikes a chord with me, and it's how we move forward, and the work that we do today, kind of sets the stage for the success of people down the road, whether they're our children or our grandchildren or people who come here, So all of that's very important. Proclamations are a way that we get to formally honor those people. So our first proclamation is to honor retiring board members. See, I don't remember, do we read these? Do we make a motion first? Or do we read them?
Typically for the returning board members and volunteers, we don't loop them together
Okay.
and just make a motion, but the others, yes, we
Yes.
would read into the record.
Okay, so should we read them first? We should make the motion first, I guess.
It doesn't matter either way.
I guess we will read the proclamation. So let's see, Councilman Stegman, would you mind reading this proclamation for retiring, honoring the retiring board members?
Sure.
It's the second page.
Second page.
The
This one.
This one, right? Yeah.
Yes.
All of it. Whereas the city of Lambertville has over 100 volunteers serving on boards and commissions throughout the city. And whereas they donate hours to research and working collaboratively on efforts that benefit our community. And whereas the following people are hereby recognized for their many contributions to our beautiful city. Broadband, Cable, and Telephone Service Advisory Committee, Ward Sanders. Historic Preservation Commission, Ivan Lai. Human Rights Council, Ronnie Tart Marino, Fatima Rodriguez Gravel, and Arceli Torres. Lambertville Public Free Library, Jacqueline Sorenstein. Planning Board, Paul Rotundi, John Miller, Kevin Romano. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Lambertville that these individuals are hereby recognized for their many volunteer efforts within this beautiful city. Be it further resolved that Saturday, January 14th, 2023 is hereby celebrated as Community Volunteer Day in our community. Thank you. And thank you all for contributing hours of time to the city. And as I've said before, it's not only the volunteers, it's the families of the volunteers that support their commitment to the city. So in addition to that, I thank all of your families for letting you volunteer for the city. Thank you.
Councilwoman Kaminsky, do you mind reading the honoring volunteers proclamation, please? It's on the first page.
Whereas the city of Lambertville is fortunate to have a longstanding history of volunteerism in our community. And whereas through 2022, the city benefited from services generously donated from the following people and organizations. Special events planning and decorating, Lisa Voorhees, the Greater Lambertville Chamber of Commerce, the American Legion, and the American Legion Tuscany Post 120. For grants, Lauren McManus Rosenthal, Flowing Together in New Jersey Resiliency Program, Marianne Bourge and Parks and Recreation Commission for their many grant submissions, to Liz McGill Peer for her collaborative efforts with the Resiliency Program, Environmental Commission, Parks and Recreation Commission, and the EV charging stations. Helen Pettit for her work on the Shade Tree Commission and the LMUA, Lauren Kovacs for the tree inventory grant, and Kate Millsaps for the stormwater and DEP grants, and Tom Ogren for the Salem Oak and Historic Signs grant. For maintenance of parks, Karen Taylor Ogren for the City Hall Yard, and Lee Friends of Mary Sheridan Park. Also honoring the volunteers who cleaned the creeks on April 1st and volunteers who cleaned City Hall. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and city council, the governing body of the city of Lambertville and the county of Hunterdon and the great state of New Jersey, that the following individuals are hereby recognized for their many contributions to the city of Lambertville. Be it further resolved that Saturday, January 14th is Volunteer Recognition Day in the city of Lambertville. Thank you all.
Yes, lots and lots of volunteers. We had over 80 people work in the creeks on April 1st. That was we pulled out 6 tons of debris that was in our creeks from Ida. So thank you to all of them. Thank you to everybody who cleared the city hall, the attic. We had a very kind of messy, sweaty, dusty day in June. Still a little bit more work to be done. And not just those people, but anybody who planted a tree this year, anybody who participated in anything, whether it was on a board or a commission, or a lot of people just do things on their own, which I've noticed. In fact, just today I saw 2 people in the parking lot at City Hall wearing gloves and with trash bags going around and picking up trash. And that is our own dear Deputy Clerk Lindsay Hanch. So there are lots of people in the city who deserve recognition, and I hope that these proclamations are there to let them know that we really appreciate everything that they do. So I'd like to have a motion to adopt the proclamations honoring retiring board members and volunteers, please.
So moved.
May I have a second, please? Second. Okay, let's have a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kaminsky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lambert,
Yes.
Councilman Lai,
Yes.
Council President Stegman,
Yes.
Mayor Nutter.
Yes. Thank you. And among our many and wonderful citizens here in town, we have Stuart and Betsy Palalonis. I'm going to ask Councilwoman Lambert to read this proclamation, please.
Whereas Lambertville has a duty to recognize members of the community whose values and hard work seek to improve the common good. And whereas Stuart and Betsy Palalonis moved to Lambertville in the 1970s. And whereas they raised their 3 children, Alexander, Gregory, and Peter, who graduated from South Hunterdon Regional High School District. And whereas Stuart has served the community in many different ways, including attorney and alternate attorney to Planning and Zoning Board, served on the Hunterdon County Democratic Committee, was one of the original board members for the South Hunterdon Apartments, and wrote the first historic preservation ordinances for the city of Lambertville. And whereas Betsy is a retired staff member from the Lambertville Free Public Library, managed the South Hunterdon Apartments, has served on the Lambertville Historical Society, and was very active in the Calmia Club. And whereas Stuart was very instrumental in the formation of the Historic Preservation Commission, and wrote the first ordinances establishing the commission. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Lambertville in the county of Hunterdon in the state of New Jersey, that Stuart and Betsy Palalonis are hereby recognized for their many contributions to the city of Lambertville. And be it further resolved that their commitment to historic preservation led to Lambertville implementing a historic preservation ordinance and commission. Be it further resolved that their many contributions to our community have been preserved forever in our history and in our hearts. Congratulations on a job well done, and thank you for your many years of leadership.
We assume that the standing ovation means that you're all in favor of this, right?
Yeah, right.
All right.
You want a roll call?
No, I think the standing ovation counts.
Okay.
Betsy, sir, can you come on up, please?
Let's see which one is this.
Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
One more round. Mayor Del Vecchio. I've been mayor for a year now, and I probably have less than 1/27th of an understanding of the complexity of this job that you built up over the years. It's an amazing accomplishment, and I'm going to take a moment here. Do something a little unusual, perhaps, but when we speak of wells that we did not dig, I'm just going to call out a few people here. It's just going to take a minute. So the town of Lambertville, the Honorable Samuel Lilly, the Honorable William McCready, the Honorable John Lambert, the Honorable William Kuiper, the Honorable Ingham Coriel, the Honorable Samuel Titus, the Honorable William Cowan, the Honorable J.W. Boozer. In the city of Lambertville, that was the town of Lambertville, we have the Honorable Richard McDowell, we have the Honorable Asa Heath, the Honorable Lambert Sargent, Honorable Edward Soliday, Honorable Theodore Skillman, Honorable Alexander Holcomb, the Honorable John B. Jones, the Honorable Torbert Coriel, the Honorable Stacy Bray, the Honorable William Wagg, the Honorable O.C. Holcomb, the Honorable Alfred Eli, the Honorable William Ledger, the Honorable William Lauer, the Honorable Samuel Morse, the Honorable Theodore Balderston, the Honorable E.J. Moonen, the Honorable George Klein, the Honorable Andrew Foltz, the Honorable William Naylor, the Honorable Harry Shepherd, the Honorable Francis Moonen, the Honorable Anthony J. Nanny, the Honorable Philip Pittori, the Honorable Ronald Durborough, and then our directly elected mayors, we have the Honorable Mary Sheridan, the Honorable John Michael McManus, the Honorable Frank J. Fuso, the Honorable David M. Delvecchio, the Honorable Julia Fall, and me. 27 years. The person who came closest to was 17 years. Everybody else was pretty much 1, 2, or 3 years. So, and some of that had to do with kind of the form of government and the rotating nature of the mayorship. But certainly anything more than a year feels like pretty substantial to me. And when I finish my 27-year term, I'll be older than Joe Biden was 5 years ago. So thank you very much for your service. It's an amazing accomplishment. And with that, I'm going to read a proclamation for you. Whereas David M. Delvecchio was first elected to serve as mayor of the city of Lambertville on November 5th, 1991, and he was sworn into office on January 1st, 1992 by the Honorable Ronald Bookbinder, Judge of the Superior Court for Burlington County. And whereas Mayor Delvecchio served a total of 9 terms, served on various boards and as the president of the New Jersey League of Municipalities, and his bipartisan efforts led to many forged relationships and opportunities for the city of Lambertville. And whereas his efforts were many and are all preserved in the 27 years of minutes held in trust at City Hall. And whereas there were several historical events throughout his tenure, and they include obtained funding to flood-proof the Lambertville Public School, the purchase of the Lilly Mansion at 6 Lilly Street as the new home of the Lambertville Free Public Library, revived Connaught Hill, completed various road and drainage projects, made renovations to City Hall that increased accessibility with the addition of an elevator, provided generators for City Hall, the Lambert Free Public Library, and the Philip L. Pittori Justice Center, upgrades to parks, including Ely Field, Cavallo Park, and Arnett Park, and during his term added 19.426 acres to our open space inventory, bringing the total preserved acres to 30.08. Whereas his flood mitigation efforts led to the installation of the Ely Creek floodgates and implemented programs to lower the cost of flood insurance in the southern part of the city. Whereas David's efforts in historic preservation led to the creation of the Lambertville Historic Commission, the adaptive reuse of the former Old Trenton Cracker site at the end of Lambert Lane, the historic Lambertville House, the historic Lambertville Jail, and the Philip L. Pittori Justice Center, where the old Acme sign still flanks the interior of the building and on the tower. And whereas his legacy will continue in perpetuity on our beautiful city with what Mayor Dave called the saddest day of the year, when the parking meters were bagged for the December holidays. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Lambertville and the county of Hunterdon in the state of New Jersey, that David M. Delvecchio is hereby recognized for his many contributions to the city of Lambertville.
The thing I am most proud of is right in this building. I performed the first civil union, and then right in this building performed the first same-sex marriage in the history of New Jersey. And important to send that message to the community that not only our community, but the community out there, that we are open for business for all people. So I thought that was very important. And the last thing is when I took office, the police department was under the control of the prosecutor. And working with David K. Bird and John McManus, we transformed the police department into what it is today. Got rid of the chief's position, created the police director's position. And you know, no longer is the police department something that you read in the paper about every week, or something that the prosecutor comes in and takes over. So I think that's something that we could all be proud of, and it was a lot of work, right, DKB? A lot of work. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Of course, you do it all.
They do anyway.
Okay.
And now bragging rights is Alex has a 3.6 and is made the law review.
Right.
Just made third team all state in as a kicker for South Hunterdon. And rest assured that I'm there for anything you need or anything you want to talk about.
Okay, thank you.
Getting your steps in.
I am. Next to honor Wardell Sanders, I will ask Councilman Lyde, who I hope speaks Latin well enough.
Whereas Wardell Sanders is married to Erica Woodbine and they raised two children, Lily and Ian, who are graduates of the South Hunterdon Regional School District. And whereas Mr. Sanders was elected 5 times to serve on the governing body of the city of Lambertville, and for a spell, he served as council president. And whereas throughout his term of 15 years, Councilman Sanders has been very supportive of preserving the city's library, led a committee to create a shared service agreement with the Township of West Amwell for the police department, served on a committee to regionalize the South Hunterdon Regional School District, served on the Penn East Pipeline Committee, where he worked with residents of Lambertville to testify at FERC and to file documentation in opposition of the pipeline that led to the failure of Penn East to obtain the approvals required, and worked diligently with the public to research, discuss, and create the ordinance allowing for cannabis retail in Lambertville. And whereas Ward wrote the city's pay-to-play ordinance in 2019, wrote the ordinance for film regulations in 2022, and led the city in the 2020 census to educate our families on the importance of being counted. Whereas Councilman Sanders' oft-repeated maxim,
Canis naviculum non ante mulum.
and I did take 3 years of Latin. I'm ready. Don't put the canal boat before the mule. It's sound advice for this or any governing body. And whereas his statesmanship, discipline, and keen sense of humor have brought widespread benefit to Lambertville, now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Lambertville and the county of Hunterdon in the state of New Jersey that Wardell Sanders is hereby recognized for his many contributions to the city of Lambertville, and be it further resolved that Saturday, January 7th, 2023 will be celebrated as Wardell Sanders and Julia Taylor Day in the city of Lambertville. Congratulations on a job well done, and thank you for your many years of leadership.
He's traveling today, so pass this along. And I would like a motion to adopt Councilman Sanders' proclamation.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're not being formal.
Yeah,
Go back to our
the
messy
standing-
selves.
the standing ovation.
All right, and now one for Julia Taylor. I'm gonna read that one. Thank you, Julia. That's not it. You wanted modest, that's what you got.
You don't seem to be nervous.
Whereas Julia Taylor was appointed to serve an unexpired term on the governing body of the city of Lambertville on November 5th, 2018. And whereas throughout her tenure, she used her expertise to help the city with our COA obligation and various planning and redevelopment projects. And whereas on January 5th, 2021, Ms. Taylor was sworn in to serve as the council president of the governing body. And whereas after the devastation from Hurricane Ida, Council President Taylor led the city with daily updates on the storm, created a multi-agency resource center for the residents and businesses to visit and obtain information, and worked with city staff and local volunteers to ensure our residents were housed, fed, and had the information they needed from FEMA. And whereas in June 2022, Council President Taylor was fundamental in establishing a resilience team and has pledged to continue those efforts of preparing Lambertville for climate resiliency. And where she has inspired this mayor with her dedication, insight, kindness, and confidence. And whereas Council President Taylor enshrined the word shrubbery into the 2022 City Council meetings, giving everybody a good laugh in the process. And whereas her tireless efforts have forged many friendships that will last a lifetime. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Lambertville and the county of Hunterdon in the state of New Jersey, that Julia Taylor is hereby recognized for her many contributions to the city. And be it further resolved that we are grateful for her continuing efforts on the resiliency team and look forward to working with her for many years to come. And be it further resolved that Saturday, January 7th is hereby designated as Council President Taylor and Councilman Sanders Day in the city of Lambertville. Thank you.
I tried to get away without a proclamation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Mayor, for you?
Yes.
I know we approved all the appointments to the board, but can we read them so the public will know who's taking what position?
To the board,
Yeah.
all the boards and commissions?
Say number 10, number 10. I know we approved it, but we didn't acknowledge those who are.
Sure.
set up.
Absolutely.
However you want to do it.
Yeah, what, do you want, I'm happy to hear.
Give your voice a little.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Back up here.
appointment, the following appointments will be, are we ready to go, Cindy?
Yeah.
Okay, the following appointments will be authorized using a consent agenda. Broadband, Cable and Telephone Services Advisory Committee is Stephanie Brand, John Weber. Environmental Commission is Cynthia Yan, Liz McGill here. Historic Preservation is Lisa Easton, Stuart Pallalonis, Nora Linderman. There is a vacancy. Don't all volunteer at once. Human Rights Council is Scott Elliott, myself as Benedetta Lambert as mayor's representative, and Kathy Lynn Kelly. There's also a vacancy there, I believe. Lambertville Free Public Library Board is Stephanie Vollmer, Manisha Ardwal. Office of Emergency Management, Lieutenant Robert Brown, our coordinator, Matt Bast, Deputy Coordinator, Andrew Noack, Mayor, Cynthia Eggy, City Clerk and Deputy Coordinator, Lindsay Hanch, Deputy Clerk, Susan Bacorn, Deputy Treasurer, Michael Barlow, Chief, Lambertville Fire Department, Wanda Quinones, South Hunterdon Regional School District, Lisa Voorhees, Greater Lambertville Area Chamber of Commerce, Bambi Cool, Director of Public Assistance, Thomas Horn, Executive Director, LMUA, Scott Elliott, Human Rights Council, Ken Rogers, Construction Official, John Miller, Flood Expert, Jason Strauss, Chief, Lambertville New Hope Ambulance and Rescue Squad, James Walters Suez. For the LMUA, we're appointing Janine McGregor. For Parks and Recreation, appointing Pat Walker, Alexis Behrens, Barry Middleburg. The Planning Board, our Class 2 officer will be Vince Yule. Our Class 3, which is council, will be my colleague, Council President Stegman, Paul Cool, Marlena Ubel, Robert Jordan. Alternate 1 is Cynthia Young. Alternate 2 is Michelle Romeo. For Shade Tree Commission, we are appointing Art Bashir, Helen Pettit, and we have a vacancy. For Social Services and Public Assistance Board, Sharon Bird. For Zoning Board of Adjustment, Fred Eisinger, Brian Kelly, Jane Westby. City Historian is Lou Tobas. Division of Senior Services is Mary Enzano. And that's the end.
Next on the agenda, we have the consent agenda. So these are resolutions considered routine and shall be enacted typically by one motion. If any member of the council has a question or would like to seek a separate discussion of any item, we'll remove that item and discuss it separately. So these are resolutions number 01-2023 through 17-2023. These resolutions typically allow us to set up the city government, the administration, budget, to make sure there's money in the bank, make sure that everything is up and running according to statutes. So are there any questions from the council on any of these resolutions?
I'm good.
Okay. May I have a motion, please, to adopt resolution numbers 01-2023 through 17-2023?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next, we're going to begin to appoint our city professionals. And so we will begin with resolution number 18-2023. This is a resolution authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract for the city attorney and redevelopment attorney. And before we actually discuss the appointment, I just wanted to offer the council an opportunity to discuss or make comments on the process of the non-fair and open contract. I know it's something that we've discussed, and I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to weigh in on that. Are there things that anyone on the council wishes to say?
I will. I know that I do have concerns about the non-fair and open process moving forward. I appreciate you listening to those concerns. I know other members of council did as well. And I think that moving forward, we should try to use the fair and open process for these appointments, which I believe we're gonna do. So.
I concur. The fair and open process is meant to serve the public and to be able to have as much transparency and review on the appointment process. So I would favor going forward that we only pursue the fair and open process in our appointment process.
I'm also in agreement with my fellow council members. I think it's a good direction to move in and to keep us on point with using fair and open in the future.
And I agree.
Thank you. I'm gonna just explain kind of my process in this and how this discussion came to be. So back in October, just in an effort to kind of be organized and timely, I had a couple of conversations about appointments for the next year with staff and with Mr. Opal, and asked a few questions about the difference between the non-fair and open and the fair and open. So at that time, I decided to move forward with potentially a number of appointments through the non-fair and open process. Back on October 24th, I sent a list of the council of the non-fair and open appointments, which were the city attorney, the co-attorney, the public defender, the city planner, and the city prosecutor and assistant city prosecutor. For me, that process was really only meant to kind of streamline things. I felt very confident about our relationships with these professionals. We've used them for several years, and in some cases, many years. And I just personally felt as though we could keep the process streamlined and made sense to not put out a general RFP for, to solicit responses for which I wasn't seriously going to consider, right? So that was just my thinking on that. So I sent that letter to the council back on October 24th, before the election. And at that time, there weren't any concerns about it. And then in early December, I had the opportunity to kind of catch up with you guys about it. And I apologize if there was an oversight on my behalf between the election and the time we had a conversation about it, that I didn't actually sort of have a chance to talk with you about the process. I'm happy to move back to, and I will just also say that in early December, it already felt like it was too late to potentially kind of put those RFPs back out. I felt like that would be just confusing for the public and probably for the council. So I didn't do that, and I moved forward with these with these recommended appointments. I'm more than happy to, on the council's recommendation, to pledge right here and now that I will use the open and fair from here on out. So that's kind of where I am. I appreciate your feedback on that, and I'm happy to do that moving forward. I would just note that in the resolutions, you'll also see that there's an additional requirement in the non-fair and open contract or proposals that these prospective appointments must submit a business entity disclosure certification that certifies their firm has not made any reportable contributions to a political or a candidate committee in the city of Lambertville in the previous year, and that the contract will prohibit the firm from making any reportable contributions through the term of the contract. I think that's just important to note. We don't want anybody to think that appointments are made based on something other than the best interest of the city. And I feel as though that's something that offers us a little bit of protection, but we don't have to worry about it anymore because I will be pursuing it there. Any other comments about that? Hearing none, I would, let's see. No, I haven't read that. So yeah, so I think maybe I did. So the resolution 18-2023 is resolution authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract for the city attorney and the redevelopment attorney. So I would nominate William Rupel, McMahon and Scotland Baum to serve as the city attorney and redevelopment attorney for one-year term at a rate not to exceed $60,000 for the city attorney and $1,000 for redevelopment projects with an hourly rate of $185 for both positions. Are there any comments or questions on this? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve resolution number 18-2023?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, let's take a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kaminsky,
yes.
Councilwoman Lambert,
Yes.
Councilman Lyde,
Yes.
Council President Stegman.
Yes.
Mayor Noah.
Yes. Thank you. Resolution number 19-2023. This is authorizing the award of the non-fair and open contracts for professional services for the 2023 calendar year. These appointments will be for the co-op attorney, Kelly Grant Malamute, hourly rate of $160 with an annual amount not to exceed $15,000. Public defender Stanley Troy, $300 per court appearance with an annual amount not to exceed $3,600. The alternate public defender Jenna Casper Bloom at a rate of $150 per client with an amount not to exceed $750. The city planner Michael Sullivan of Clark Cape and Hence with an hourly rate of $180, an annual amount not to exceed $15,000 excluding escrow accounts. The prosecutor Philip and Sean Verity of Hunt and Verity with an annual amount not to exceed $26,500 stipend. Risk manager CBIZ with an annual amount not to exceed $14,545,000, which is paid through the Public Alliance Insurance Fund. And lastly, the municipal advisor, Phoenix advisor, in the amount not to exceed $1,200. Are there any questions about any of these appointments?
Mayor, if I could just also,
Yeah.
the city planner is also the co-op.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hearing no questions or comments, may I have a motion to approve resolution 19-2023?
Make the motion.
Second,
All those in favor, let's do a roll call, please. You put it down that way. Cindy.
Councilwoman Kaminsky.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lambert,
Yes.
Councilman Lyde,
Yes.
Council President Stegman.
Yes.
Mayor Know.
Thank you. Yes, yes. Resolution number 20-2023. This resolution authorizing professional services contract for 2023 calendar year using the fair and open process. This is to inform, this is a resolution to authorize contracts through the fair and open process of the following: the city auditor, Subject Clooney and Company, at an annual rate not to exceed $40,000 for completion of the ADS, the AFS, the annual audit, and the budget assistance. The budget consultant, Michael Drulis of Mortford Drulis and Associates, with an hourly rate of $84 at an annual rate not to exceed $25,000. The bond counsel, Thomas Hasty of Allenwood and Associates, hourly rate of $205 with an annual rate not to exceed $750 to the calendar year budget, up to $15,000 to be charged to the bond ordinance. Planning Board Attorney Scott Salmon, Esquire of Jardim, Mason, Sussor, PC, hourly rate of $165, not to exceed $500, excluding escrow accounts. Planning Board Engineer will be Gilmore and Associates, an hourly rate of $160 with an annual rate not to exceed $750, excluding escrow accounts. City Engineer, again, Gilmore and Associates, with an hourly rate of $160 with an annual rate not to exceed $5,000. Alternate City Engineer, CME Associates, hourly rate of $195 with an annual amount not to exceed $400, excluding escrow accounts. The Special Engineer for Stormwater Management, this is for MS4 Tier A and Stormwater Management Utility Advisory position. Princeton Hydro at an hourly rate of $195 per hour and an amount not to exceed $5,000. Zoning Board Attorney Scott Salmon, Esquire, Jardim, Meissner, and Susser, hourly rate of $165 an hour and an annual rate not to exceed $500, excluding escrow accounts. Zoning Board Engineer Gilmore and Associates, hourly rate of $160 at an annual rate not to exceed $750, excluding escrow accounts. The alternate Zoning Board Engineer, CME Associates, hourly rate of $195 per hour with an annual amount not to exceed $400, excluding escrow accounts. And the City Architect, Michael Burns, Architect, hourly rate of $195 with an annual rate not to exceed $1,000. Are there any questions or comments from the council on this resolution? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve resolution number 20-2023?
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Kaminsky.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lambert,
Yes.
Councilman Lyde,
Yes.
Council President Stegman.
Yes.
Mayor Know.
Yes. All right, resolution number 21-2023. This is a resolution to authorize the contracts for garbage, solid waste disposal, and recycling for the 2023 calendar year. This is obviously to authorize contracts for garbage and recycling. Are there any questions from the council about this? Have a motion, please, to approve resolution number 21-2023. Second, please. Second. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Kaminsky.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lambert,
Yes.
Councilman Lyde,
Yes.
Council President Stegman.
Yes.
Mayor Know.
Yes. Next is resolution number 22-2023. This is a resolution to appoint a company to provide animal control for the city of Lambertville for the 2023 calendar year. This would be a contract with Animal Control Solutions for animal control services for 2023. I just want to have a few things to say about this one before we kind of open it up for council discussion. In the last few days, I've received about 6 letters in opposition of this appointment. I'd like to thank these people for sharing their views. The city recognizes both its statutory and ethical obligations to ensure that animals are well looked after and tended to. And I personally know a lot about this. I grew up on a farm in Massachusetts where my parents had established a reputation as being the people who would accept stray animals. So in addition to our cow, our horse, our pony, our chickens, our mischievous goat, we always had at least probably 8 or 10 cats and half a dozen dogs. So I understand the importance of this personally, and I want to recognize and thank people for weighing in on this. So these letters were all received in the last couple of days. I directed Cindy Iggy to do a little bit of kind of follow-up on this. She was kind enough to generate a memo. There is also a memo available that detailed the interview process. As one of the things I didn't talk about during my process for interviewing professionals is I often will have people in the interviews who have greater historical knowledge of the position or maybe have some value to bring to interviews. So for example, I would be more than happy to have the chairs of the zoning and the planning board sit in on the interviews for the attorney, that kind of thing, right? So both Cindy Iggy and Lieutenant Brown sat in on the interviews with the animal control candidates. At the end of the day, I think I'm confident moving forward with this appointment. The people who have written letters, and I suspect some of them may be here today, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you and share in greater detail kind of my process behind this decision and all the information that the city has in the form of 2 memos as we move forward. Not all appointments are easy. Not all decisions are easy, but we do the best we can. We act in good faith. I was glad to have these letters. We took them seriously, and we moved forward. We found, we did a little bit more research. We shared that with all the council. I've talked to each one of the council members since Wednesday evening, and I think that at this point, I'm comfortable moving forward with this appointment. But I'd like to first give the council the opportunity to make any statements or ask any questions if they wish.
Mayor, I guess I received contact, both emails and telephone calls. I had a few conversations, and I really appreciate everyone who reached out to me to share their thoughts. I didn't know a lot about this until this week, and these concerns were raised. Will we be appointing this contract for the course of the year, or will we be taking some interim action for analysis mid-year?
Yes.
Do we want to talk about that?
Yes, thank you for reminding me, because I forgot to bring that up. So one of the things I do in my process with appointing, I did this last year and I will do it this year. Any new appointment to the city, I did this last year. I offered a 6-month review, to formal review, to sit down with these professionals and give them feedback. And obviously these relationships are going on during the course of the day, but I think it is important, as you would do with your employees, you sit down and you have a formal review. You say, this is part of the relationship that is working really well. This is part of the relationship I think we can build on or do better with. So I would say, yes, as part of the 6-month review process that I would do, because I think that there are concerns with this company from the public, I would offer this appointment to the council for the council's approval for 6 months, and that I would generate a memo which could be distributed publicly at about 4 months.
Excuse me, Mayor, I
No,
feel
no,
it's
I'm-
not right, because we
I'm
didn't
sorry,
hear this
we
was gonna
don't-
happen till the last minute, because we've had no chance to speak to the council members directly about what our experiences
This
with
is
this
not,
company
this,
has been.
I'm
It's not
sorry.
acceptable. It is not acceptable. I have been the person in charge of animal welfare in this town
I'm
for
sorry.
29 years.
I'm sorry.
It's not acceptable that you will not hear the public. We are here to talk about our concerns for animal welfare and some of the misinformation that people on the council are getting.
Excuse
And
me.
it is not acceptable.
I'm going to ask that you please be quiet until we have the public comment period, right? No, I will not have it, please. We will conduct ourselves with civility in this room, and we will do it according to the rules and established processes here. I will ask you to please maintain your civility and your respect for this governing body.
I have great respect for the government.
I will hope that you will show it, and please follow the decorum and the rules that are set out here. we give the public plenty of opportunity, and the public will have an opportunity to speak in the public comment section, which is always at the end of the meeting. I make myself available through through office hours. The last 2 days I had off, I worked and I tried to sort this business out. We act in good faith at this council, and I would ask you to respect that, please. So you will have a moment to speak when it's your turn. So I'm going to ask that the council please consider this appointment as a 6-month contract. I will generate, if the council agrees, I will generate a memorandum at 4 months to make sure that this relationship is working. If it's not working, I will release a request for proposal for animal control services again.
So Mayor, if I could just kind of build on that. I think it's a good idea to do a mid-year review, a 6-month review. Because we've received some differing comments, and this information kind of bubbled up at the last minute. So we're in a little bit of a bind where we're really required to appoint someone. We've gone through this process. Changing the direction at this point probably would not, would put us out of compliance with needing to appoint this position. So doing this mid-year, it seems prudent at this point. I would also suggest that when we do the next, whether it be the RFP, assuming it would be an RFP mid-year, we probably want to make sure that we as a city clearly specify in the RFP how we want this function to operate within our community. Do we have certain requirements for, the service provider to have formal agreements in place with their back-end providers? And I'm a little bit on thin ice here because I don't know exactly the names of those services. How do we want this person or this service to operate on request, or do we want them, kind of working the community at will? Those types of things are things that bubbled up, and I think we should take a closer look at how, to specify those things. That way, the bidders on the RFP have the opportunity to articulate specifically how they're going to meet those requirements. Just a suggestion.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other comments from the council?
Yeah, I think too, given the fact that, we have a lot of input and a lot of concern, and a lot of folks who are, concerned about animals in the community, that maybe we, could set up some type of, we are going to do this 6-month review of this contract, and kind of need to do a contract so we stay in compliance. But to be able to review the work as it goes along with, let's put together like a ad hoc group of folks who are concerned. So there's a process to review the information, and maybe we can all be a little bit more understood about what we need, some of the standards that we need, some of the standards we need the providers for, and then some of the experiences of, folks with different companies, because there's a lot of different companies out there who could provide different services and for the next period. So then in the next period, we are more, making a more harmonious, decision. I also think just for that we should take some public comment before we vote on the resolution. I feel that really voting on it and then taking the public comment is really the right way to go. I feel more comfortable if I heard from folks who are going to participate in the public comment period anyway, that they do it before we vote on the resolution. So
I'm leery about doing that. Not because I want to keep the public quiet, because there's a process. And in the last few days, I've spoken to the council. I thought we've worked through this well enough where we're comfortable making the decision. We have a statutory obligation to have somebody in place today. I think that the public who are here, my guess is, that, you know, that there are probably some of these concerns that have already been shared.
Not really.
I'm going to allow it, but I will allow it, but I want to be very clear about, as we are, I'm going to ask Lindsay to be the clock keeper, because I'm on my phone with me. We do have rules about public comment at city meetings. I want to be very clear about this. I read this every time we have a public comment period. It's an expectation, and it's in line with how I operate and how I think I have been very open to the public in terms of accessibility. So I will ask members of the public to provide public comment from the podium here unless they have mobility issues. Members of the public shall state their name and their address. They are allowed uninterrupted remarks and or questions for 3 minutes. No more. No person shall address any specific council member nor any other person except by permission of the majority of the council. No person shall engage in personally offensive or abusive remarks. The chair shall call to order anyone who violates this rule. The chair or the council may or may not respond. So these are our policies of public comment. They are written into an ordinance. This is available on the city website. So.
Can I add
Yes.
something?
Mhm.
To all the folks that reached out to me, thank you for sharing your thoughts. I think what you've heard up to this point is that the council is willing to go through the process with public input. And my concern is that we're going to hear a lot about why we shouldn't do what we're doing. But I think going forward, knowing that it's not a year contract, it's 6 months, and we've committed, Karen has, to do a holistic view and get input from the people that have done hands-on experience and that are dedicated to animal welfare. So what I want to caution, that if you come up to speak about this issue, and it's not the first time in all the years that I'm here that people have had input into our decision. So I want to, if we could pledge, so to speak, that you have our commitment to work with the folks that have concerns and move forward past this, so in a few months we will have much more information from the people who work firsthand. I just, if you'd like to say something, absolutely, but I'm saying that we have committed to working through this with the folks who love animals in the city. And that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you. All right, if you'd like to make a comment, please step to the mic. Identify yourself by your name and your address. I'm going to ask Lindsay, who is on the phone, to keep track of the time. Will you just please call time, Lindsay, when it's 3 minutes?
Sure.
Thank you.
My name is Annie Gissler.
Can you speak to my comment?
I'm sorry,
To my comment.
it's on.
Tap on the mic to see if it's on.
You probably
Thank you.
have to
Thank you so
leave.
much.
You probably have to leave to be heard.
My name is Annie Gissler. I've been a business owner in Lambertville for over 20 years. First of all, I want to thank Councilwoman Lichtenstein for allowing me to speak. It means a lot. I care deeply about this community. I care deeply about the people who live here. This is my heart here. I'm here many days a week, and as I said, I've owned a business here for over 20 years, and I have intimate relationships with many community members. And what people you don't know about me is I'm very active in the dog world. I'm a dog trainer. I do dog sports. I keep my dogs in agility. I travel around the country. I've been in national. I'm a huge animal lover. For many years, my dogs came with me to work every single day. All of my dogs were housebroken in my business. All my dogs were here with me every single day. Unfortunately, my one dog was a reactive dog, and I took my eye off her for 1 minute, and unfortunately, she hit a child in one night when I was leaving my business. Now, it was a very traumatic experience for me. I still have some PTSD from that. I did not bother my business wanting to hurt someone that night. So the police, got a report, was then in touch with St. Hubert's, who interviewed me about my dogs, and realized that my dogs have traveled the United States. They've been in elevators, hotels, cars, big stadiums, never have they attacked anyone. This was a one-time incident. It was an unfortunate incident, but my dogs were not dangerous to society and they're not dangerous dogs. So the plan was to isolate them like we should for rabies and leave them home and adjust, bringing them to home. Right. So 2 months later, I get notices all over my house to call Animal Control Solutions. They want to talk to me about what happened to my dogs. I called them. They asked me when I'm ready home. I told them I'm ready home. They showed up at my house with a state trooper and a piece of paper telling me I had two choices. Either surrender my dogs and say that they were dangerous and they would be killed, or hire an attorney and fight to prove that my dogs were not dangerous dogs. First of all, they literally were against the law because it didn't happen where I live, which is in Kingwood Township, where they were the animal control people. It happened in Lambertville. Wasn't even a jurisdiction. I could have sued Kingwood Township for that, but I chose not to because I wanted to get my dogs back. All I have to say is I don't want that to ever happen to someone in this town, ever. To have their dogs taken away. I spent $5,000 to prove that my dogs are not dangerous. What if someone doesn't have $5,000? My dogs were taken to an impound. I wasn't allowed to see them. I wasn't allowed to know where they were for 24 hours. And when I expressed upset about it to the woman who answered the phone at Animal Control Solutions, she laughed at me and said, "I'm sure you miss your dogs."
That's fine.
I'm extremely passionate about this. I have never stepped forward in anything in my life, but I love the people in this town. I do not want to see these people have animal control here.
So there's evidence you suggested you give like a 30-second warning after. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Okay, great. Next, please. Zanya, you didn't say your address. Would you just tell us what your address was, please?
I live on 1260 County Road, 519 in Frenchtown.
Thank you.
I'm Judy Gleason, 86 North Union Street. I wanted to just identify a couple of things in connection with this issue. And one is, if you make a change to 6 months or less, I was wondering if you would consider 60 days, but don't forget to amend the resolution to say that, because it doesn't say that now. Secondly, I think there are many issues around this particular service, and one issue that's been raised in the past is that with enforcement, we have a money thing that is beneficial to the town if there is enforcement carried out by the entity that does this job for us. We've had an entity in the past who did more enforcement, and we had money coming to the city on that, and I think that's a valid part of this process to consider. And thirdly, I want to thank Councilwoman for the suggestion of a committee of some sort of reviewing data between now and the 6th month. Perhaps there could be, perhaps people from the city could volunteer to be involved in that, and the council could decide whether any other people would be involved, because it's hard to gather information, it's hard to assemble it, it's hard to figure out what it is and give it to the council in time to know stuff by the 6 month period of time. So in that way, and I appreciate a great deal the opportunity to have public say something before you vote. I think that means a lot to us. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for allowing us to speak. I really appreciate it. My name is Lori Stagnino. I live in New Hope. I moved to Lambertville 29 years ago, Quarry Street. I formed Lambertville Animal Welfare about 15 years ago. For those who don't know me, it's a nonprofit animal welfare organization dedicated to saving the lives of animals in Lambertville, Hunterdon, Bucks, etc. Our goal via community collaboration is to find new foster homes for unwanted cats, dogs, special needs, seniors, reunite owners with lost pets, oversee TNR, trap, neuter, return for community cat colonies, promote low-cost spay, neuter, microchipping of all cats and dogs, And the thing we're most proud of is that we have a pet food pantry at Fisherman's Marsh for people who cannot afford pet food. I have been doing this for many years. I think the proudest thing is TNR. When I first moved here, there were over 100 free roaming cats in Lambertville. Actually, before I started, Carolyn Murphy rounded up 30 of them on our net street and had them all stayed neutered. I took care of the rest of the 100. We're down to 2 left in the city of Lambertville, which is always a shock when I go in front of national animal welfare organizations and say, I TNR the city down to 2. One of them is Buddy, he's 19 years old, he lives on Ferry Street, the other one is behind Duke Yoga. What I have done over the years, because Hunterdon County does not have a municipal shelter, one of only 2 in the state, is that I have formed collaborations throughout Mercer, Hunterdon, Somerset, Bucks County, so that we all take the animals and so they are not killed at vet offices. Carolyn and I collaborate very closely with Tabby's Place Cat Sanctuary. Every single cat picked up, dead or alive, because I know there's such a weird issue about where dead animals are going in Lambertville. She has a contract with Tabby's Place for that. She has a contract with Hopewell Lawrence for dogs in their particular freezer. All cats injured or found go to Tabby's Place, which is basically Disneyland for cats. Dogs go to Save Rescue in Princeton, which is an amazing organization. No dogs are killed. Other animal control companies do not have these type of places. Thank you. There's so much more I could say. I know a lot of this is politics about what happened when Carolyn left 5 years ago. It was because she was, she did not have what she needed by the city of Lambertville as an employee to legally do her job as an animal control officer. She did not have an impound facility or a vet. And she was advised not to continue by her attorney without contracts in place. It would jeopardize her animal control certification. And by the way, I am also an animal control officer in the state of New Jersey
Thank you.
and an animal cruelty investigator.
Hi, Laura McWater, I'm at 23 York Street here in Lambertville. I've worked in the animal welfare industry for 30 years. I've worked at the local animal hospital. And I want to thank you for reconsidering the year contract. I think it's a wise thing because we all only just found out about this. I know Zanya and I know that she is very passionate and educated dog owner. I have personal experience with Carolyn Murphy. She has taken care of my pets for many years and I very much trust her. I know there is a lot more involved in animal control and, you know, having the logistics of what you need, but she cares deeply about the animals. And you said earlier about, you know, give us the reasons why, you know, we're talking about, you know, disagreeing with your decision, but also I would like to say that, to put it out there, that Carolyn is very passionate and bends over backwards for the animals. When something goes wrong with animals, we live in a very, very pet-friendly city. And when something goes wrong, it can go really, really wrong. And I would urge you to consider the 60 days versus 6 months. I know there's a lot of stuff, you gotta have a contract today, it's the first. But I would implore you to please explore options, as I don't want anything that happens on you to happen to me and my pets. And I would like to know that somebody in animal control really has our back, because pets are our family. And I thank you for your time.
Anyone else speaking to this issue?
I'm not good at this. My name is Avery English. I live in Delaware Township, New Jersey. Excuse me. I was involved with Rescue with Animal Control Solutions, where the
dogs were seized and they took them to impoundment. After they were seized, they left 2 cats behind, which we called, they never picked up. I took care of those animals. Why I'm here is because when they returned the dogs after 5 weeks, they were in horrible condition. I mean, it would break your heart. One dog couldn't even walk. My neighbor was so upset about it that he did call the prosecutor's office. And she said that she did hear rumors about that they weren't treating them properly when they were seized like that from other places. And then since I have had done that rescue, I've heard from other people with the same argument that their cats that were seized came back in horrible condition. So thank you for hearing.
Anybody online who wants to speak to this?
Let's see, measures,
How many people? are
11.
Thanks. All right. I'd like a motion to close the public comment period on this matter.
So
Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Well, thank you again for speaking. I still believe that at a minimum, a 6-month contract is appropriate. I think 60 days is not enough to make a formal assessment. While the speakers today have all spoken out in opposition to this, we do have a number of references for this community, for this group: Raritan Township, Reading Township, Clinton, Lebanon, and Franklin. We're all very happy with animal control solutions. Therefore, I think it's worth. I believe that a 6-month contract is appropriate, and it'll give us the time to make a realistic assessment. The only other thing I would just point out is that my appointment of this company is about this company. It's not about a different company, right? So when I make my assessment, it is based on a positive interview. It's based on positive circumstances. I mean, I have a list of things, and I'll certainly follow up with everybody on email on Monday with my particular reasons for putting forward this group. We heard a lot of information from the public, and I'm happy to hear it. But I do think that a 6-month contract is appropriate, and that's what I would like to suggest to the council to approve here this afternoon. So, yes, Council President.
Does the animal control officer follow the city's lead of how to conduct themselves, or it is?
Well, of course, I mean, a lot of their job is defined by statutory requirements, but certainly, for example, we can get a monthly report, right? So there are things that we can work with. I'm more than willing to share the monthly report. I mean, we can talk about a committee. I want to make sure that if we do a subcommittee here, that we're getting people who are interested in the topic generally and who don't have. I want to be careful about who we put on such a committee. So, and I don't think that that's a decision that we need to make today. I'm happy to consider it, set it publicly. We can talk about it, and we can make a decision at our next meeting if the council would like to discuss this further between now and then.
and everything goes to the police department.
Right. Yeah. So basically, the police oversee this program.
So it seems like if we are too abrupt in reevaluating, we wouldn't be able to have the opportunity to collect enough information about how the service is functioning good, to be able to evaluate the service. So, I mean, I could be talking to something less than 6 months, but 60 days seems a little too short of a period of time, maybe 4 months would be, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, see how other council members feel about this.
My only concern with a shorter period, if I may, Council
Yeah.
President, is that it then pushes back the assessment into 2 or 3 months, which I just don't know that that's enough time.
Well,
to
right,
make
that's
it.
kind of
That
what,
would be my point.
I think we're in a difficult position because obviously, we heard the concerns that residents have raised, but we have to act. And if we set something for 60 or 90 days, that's really not going to be a meaningful evaluation of anything. Government unfortunately moves a little bit slowly. I'm very concerned about the allegations of animal welfare that were raised about how but they're allegations. We have done due diligence, and I know The mayor has spent a lot of time, vetting these people. I will also say too, the benefit of a little extra time, also, if we are in a position where we need to go a different direction, that additional time might help people that might be interested in that position secure whatever they need to submit to the request as well. So I think unfortunately, although 6 months might seem long, I think in the eyes of government, I think that's unfortunately probably the most reasonable position to take is the 6 months.
This is a question for Bill. In the contract that they will eventually sign and we sign, is there something that protects the city that we could exit earlier than 6 months?
The standard services agreement that the city uses always has language that the city can cancel the contract on 30 days notice to any vendor. So the city always reserves that right for any contract or event.
So if we were to discover some egregious practice, firsthand, right, based on our experience with our service, we would have the ability to opt out of that agreement early.
Within the notice.
Right, okay.
Right. It seems like we're done talking about this. With that, I'd like a motion to approve resolution number 22-2023, specifically noting that it will be a 6-month appointment. And reappointment by the council or an RFP will be submitted in plenty of time to make sure that we have coverage. Motion. Yes, for someone approve the motion.
I'll make the motion.
And I have someone second the motion, please. And have a roll call vote, please.
Yes. Councilwoman Kaminsky. Yes. Councilwoman Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Lai.
Yes.
Council President Stegman.
Yes.
Mayor No.
Yes. Resolution number 23-2023, a resolution to authorize the contracts for the following services: cleaning, technology, landscaping for the 2023 calendar year. These are fairly standard. Last year, we've had a cleaning service that comes into City Hall and municipal buildings. Does cleaning weekly. The First Technology is our technology services. And Pure Vita is our landscaping services. This was the first, this is it would be the second year we would be using them. As noted in the resolution, we are able to charge some of that to open space maintenance funds. So this is not coming out of the tax levy appropriation, which is good. So are there any questions about this from council? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve resolution 23-2023.
So
I think we can do it.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna go back to our all in favor. Aye. Any opposed? All right, this motion carries. The next resolution is 24-2023. Resolution to authorize amendment to section 2, section 3, paid and unpaid time off policies for the staff policy and procedure manuals. This is resolution to authorize time off for employees of the city. And again, I think this is the one with the holidays in it.
Yes.
All right, okay, thanks. Again, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Lambert. We talked about holiday schedule last year at the, I don't know if it was at the reorg meeting or at the reorg meeting. And we agreed at that time that we needed to kind of take a closer look at that. I would thank Councilwoman Lambert for her care and dedication and sort of working through some proposed changes to the time off. And make a note that there wants to be some discussions moving forward. So, I don't know if anybody has any questions. I think Councilwoman Lambert may have a thought or two you want to share.
First I wanted to thank our city clerk for putting together a very thoughtful and well-documented assessment of how this calendar was put together. Really appreciate that, Cindy. And I think, I don't know if it's available to the public, but sometimes people in the public question why this, why that, and that memo would really be helpful for people that might want to see it. So if we could put it out there for the public, that would be great. I think we made a lot of progress on this. I was very pleased with how it came forward. So you know, the only comment, the only feedback I would have for this year is that we kind of reallocated some hours. I don't remember the exact thing, but I think it's right in front of me. So, okay, so we reallocated some holiday hours from April into to October 31st, so that because it's a Tuesday, the city streets are closing. That's the night that everyone works late. Obviously, not a good idea. So there's like some holiday time there. And I understand the extenuating circumstances for that. I just think in general, we want to be really careful about taking hours out of a pay period and moving them to another pay period, just because it's probably not a practice we want to promote. But, you know, the circumstances were different, so.
It's difficult when you have a Friday holiday because
Right.
City Hall staff all works till 7:30 on Tuesday nights. So on Fridays, they work a half day. So when everybody gets their full 6.5, 7 hours.
Right.
City Hall staff kind of gets shift.
Right, because.
So what we had to do in going through this, and thank you for pointing this out, because we had no idea how many Friday holidays we were really missing out on.
Yeah.
So we just kind of reallocated time, and in the end, it all works out in the wash.
Right. So if someone were to, if you were to actually do a spreadsheet, it's really an idea. I did a spreadsheet, you know, of the hours per day and how many hours work per day. Since they don't work, the staff does not work consistently the same number of hours 5 days a week. They spike on Tuesdays and they show short on Friday. Any Friday holiday winds up basically shortchanging the employee of 3 hours of holiday time. And the converse is true if it's on a Tuesday, which this year, July 4th is a Tuesday, the employee actually owes the city 3 hours. So there was kind of that leveling of the hours. And I'll stop talking before we all go to sleep.
What?
Yes.
We're back.
I'm done.
We're
I'm done
back.
now. Here.
All right, so.
Yeah, sure. Ben and I talked about this, and when we actually, she shared the information with me, I did not realize that the city was being, that the city employees were losing for working, especially on the Tuesday night. So I'm glad we were able to, you know, be able to come to an agreement on how best to compensate the employees of the city, who I must say are there if we need them. But just to make sure that the playing field was level. So so the work that they do could go on in a progressive way for the city, but also respect the fact that things weren't working fairly for some of the employees and the holidays that fall where they fall. So I'm so glad that Cindy and Lindsay and Ben actually, you know, wasn't easy, it's difficult, but I think in the end, it's good for the city, and it's definitely good for the people that work actually more than they're supposed to and are not compensated. So thank you both and Mayor for that availability, the opportunity to really make sure people are treated financially.
Any other comments on this resolution? Now I would ask for a motion to approve the resolution 24-2023.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great. On to announcements. Did you know that you can renew your dog license permits online? The link is included here. Dog and cat licenses are due no later than Tuesday, February 28th to avoid the late fee. Please include a copy of your pet's valid rabies vaccination. Parking stickers, which expired on 12/31/22. You can now renew them online. Please note the address here for that. Also, please note the schedule of 2023 reorganization meetings. I'm not going to read through this. It's posted on the city calendar. just a reminder about announcements. Announcements are posted to the city website and to Facebook. Our Facebook is actually probably in terms of announcements, it's the one that we most readily post to. And our Facebook feed does appear on our city website. So if you have a question about whether the trash is being picked up or whether the street sweeper is running or whether there's something else, please, either the city website is the definitive source for everything, but you may also check our Facebook page.
Excuse me, Mayor, I just want to comment that or note that the Human Rights Council meeting on January 9th does not appear on the city calendar. Yeah. I happened to notice it yesterday and yeah. So, okay, just heads up.
Thanks.
Needs to be added.
I don't know that, we'll check to make sure everything's on there.
Okay, yeah, I just happened to notice because somebody asked me specifically about it. Okay, thank you.
All right, at this time, I would like to open the meeting up to the public for comment. If there are members of the public who wish to speak, I think you've probably all been here since the beginning, so understand what we expect. Please feel free to step up to the microphone, state your name and address. You have up to 3 minutes.
Jeff Tittle, 33 Wilson Street. I just wanted to welcome new council members to the council. Evan has such a great background in legal work that it could be a real asset for the town. And of course, Karen has the background in state government, is probably one of the most knowledgeable people to sit in the council chair, especially with her work in DEP and in the governor's office. Other point I want to mention is that if you want to check in, Dante DePiro, who happens to represent a lot, I work a lot on animal rights groups, with especially with the bear hunt, but Dante DePiro is a council person, Democrat in East Amwell, would be somebody you should probably want to check with. I just sent him an email because he has that background. And my final point is that now, with the new administration and mayor, if you continue to work, I think that we should start rethinking some of the policies. I've testified probably in my job, also as an activist in well over 300 towns in New Jersey, and it could be higher if you go back in for 40 plus years. But the point I want to make is that in almost every town I've ever dealt with, that there's always a public session at the beginning for agenda items only. And I think that would be something good to do, because today was a good example of why we should have that. There's a lot of times issues that people in the audience know about and should be part of that discussion. I know that you have open doors and people reach out and email and everything else, but sometimes it's better. So for us sitting there, we know what this issue is more about than just trying to pick up the discussion of the members. And the other thing is, I think that a 3-minute time limit should be much more flexible. There are times when there's issues that are really important that people should be able to speak longer on, and other times where maybe people go on and on like I'm just doing. It's time for me to leave. And with that, thank you and for the time.
Thank you. I would just note that I've had conversations with a couple of the council people about potentially changing things around. So stay tuned on that. I'd like to think that every council, every meeting is different. I'd like to assure the public that, your participation is incredibly valuable. And I'm open to trying different things. The 3-minute thing was started a few years ago, and I personally believe that it's good to keep your remarks concise. But I'm willing to, I'm willing to have some conversations about this. I don't want to be in a situation where the public feels like it's not being heard. That said, well, that's enough for me. I think my 3 minutes is up.
Just one more thing I'd like to comment about that, Mayor. I think that, people, when they come to a council meeting, especially when they're at night, they shouldn't have to wait till 9:30 to speak about something. And I think that, having time, and it's not because you're not available, we're not available, it's just people have busy schedules. And, they might have kids at home that they've got to go put to bed. So I hope that we can do that in the future. So thanks.
Tom Sepik, 81 North Union Street, Lambertville. I want to thank Mayor Noack, Councilwoman Lambert, and Council President Stegman for a fine year. The town moved in a much better direction, in my opinion. I apologize, I haven't gone to a council meeting in your first term. keep plan to go a little bit more. I appreciate the newsletter she sent out, having the links to the city website and the minutes of the meetings, but I must admit, I don't read them all. There's a lot involved, and I think it's very advantageous to the public to be able to make comments before they're voted on, so they hear other people commenting. It spurs ideas and other opinions, and it gets information out that wouldn't get out to the council if had the comments afterwards. Thank you.
Hi again. I'm devastated.
Name and address again. please.
Lori
Just-
Stagino,
What's the address, please, Lori?
New Hope.
A New Hope, I'm sorry, I missed it.
I'm devastated. I want to cry. I've been doing animal welfare in this city for almost 3 decades as a volunteer. Just yesterday, 2 days ago, I got a message from Ronnie Todd, about her 17-year-old cat that her 89-year-old father was babysitting while she was away on holiday, that he let out and was lost. You don't call animal control for that. They're not going to come and search your house and crawl under porches in the rain like I did yesterday. They're not experts on how to find lost indoor cats. I get the call. It took me a couple hours, but I found her cat. Her father could sleep last night, and she could spend the rest of her holiday happy. I'm the one that went to the village apartments after they were flooded out and found the dead cats in the mud under the furniture and pulled them out and had them cremated as a gift to those people who lost their pets in the flood. I am devastated. I should be getting a goddamn plaque for the 30 years I've been doing this, not disrespected by this council by not at least hearing me and respecting me. I am an animal control officer. I have worked with animal control officers for years. I know the dirty and the ugly behind them. I am professional enough not to say them in public. Last time I was in front of council 5 years ago, Steve, you remember? It is when Animal Control Solutions was on the resolution again. And I went and I spoke and we switched to St. Hubert's instead because they're reputable, they have a shelter. I got a threatening letter from Animal Control Solutions, threatening their attorney. I got a threatening letter from their attorney, threatening me. I've had 2 threatening letters from Animal Control Solutions because I'm not allowed to say anything negative about them. I have another rescue group who went to Hillsborough Council. They're going to court from Animal Control Solutions for going to a council meeting and saying something. You will not get a 6-month review from them because 1, no one will be calling animal control in Lambertville. There's a very tight community. They call me first and say, what do I do? And what I will tell them is, don't call animal control. If you want to see that animal walk out of life. Devastated, absolutely devastated.
I just want to make something very clear about my experience with Animal Control Solutions. They came to my home illegally. It wasn't their jurisdiction. They lied to me and told me they wanted to speak to me about what happened to my animals and showed up with a state trooper and took my dogs away illegally. They would not tell me where they were. They were in impound where they were treated like with a pole to feed them. My Jack Russell Terrier came with burns on the inside of his mouth. They couldn't eat from whatever chemicals were in those cages. It was, if it wasn't for Amy Trinkle stepping up and my getting an attorney and forcing them to release my dogs in Amy Trinkle's shelter in her home, they would have been there until my court case came up. They weren't violent before they went in, they would have been violent when they came out. I'm just saying, they lied, they told me they wanted to talk to them about the dogs and showed up with a state trooper. And also, waved a piece of paper to me that was not a court order, but I didn't realize that. And had I made some phone calls to lawyers and attorneys, I would have found out that I didn't really have to go to my dollars that night. And they didn't want to release them to any trickle because they're making $175 a dog per day. $75 a dog per day, 75 times 3 per day in impound. Mayor Kingwood Township came to my rescue and swore at them and actually to curse them out for coming to release my dogs to go to any trickles. Okay, these are the type of people you're dealing with. Well, that's all. I just really, they treated me like a criminal. They treated me like trash. They didn't hear me out about my dogs. They had no care what kind of dogs they were or what kind of behavior they had. They did not care. As opposed to St. Hubert's, who literally are educated people who had dog behavioralists who had me on the phone talking about my dogs to find out the background of my dogs. Had they been before? What type of dogs were they? No, these people just showed up and shoved my dogs in the back of their cart and took them somewhere where they wouldn't even tell me where they were for 24 hours. Okay? I don't want to see this happen to anyone in Limerick. This may not happen in 6 months. I'm telling you, these are not educated people. They're out for the dollar. They're not going to care if it's a resident in Limerick's beloved pet. They're going to care they're getting $75 a day to keep that animal in impound. And that's the only reason I'm speaking out about this over and over again. I just wish that you had talked to some people or allowed comment before your decision. I really do. Because unfortunately, something like this may not happen in 6 months, may not happen in a year, but it will happen again.
Any other members of the public wish to comment or ask a question? Anybody online?
The answer is
Have a motion to close the public comment period, please.
So moved.
All right. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
They made me a lot of work.
Yeah.
I want to-